They say the sea has no mercy. One moment I was brewing tea for the officers. The next, I was flying through smoke and fire, the deck gone beneath my feet. A single torpedo had struck us, fired from a German U-boat, a type of stealthy submarine used during World War II to sneak up on ships and sink them without warning. Our ship vanished in minutes. No flares, no lifeboats, just me, the open ocean, and a wooden raft no bigger than a dinner table. I drifted alone for days, fighting thirst, hunger, storms, and sharks. I built tools from scrap, caught birds with my bare hands, and even tried desalination, the process of turning salt water into drinkable water, using sunlight, metal tins, and old cloth. My skin blistered, my hair turned white, and my mind frayed at the edges, but I refused to die. My name is Poon Lim, and I live to tell the tale of being lost at sea, alone, for 133 days. I wasn't a soldier. I didn't carry a rifle or wear a uniform. I was a steward, a crew member responsible for preparing meals, serving officers, and keeping the living quarters tidy. Nothing glamorous, but it was work. And during the war, work was hard to find. I was born in Hainan, China in 1918. When the war spread across the globe, I found a place aboard the British merchant ship Ben Lomond, a cargo vessel carrying supplies through dangerous waters. We knew the risks. German submarines were hunting merchant ships like ours, but I had no idea how fast everything could fall apart. On November 23, 1942, just off the coast of Africa, it happened. The explosion was deafening. A torpedo struck the middle of the ship. Fire erupted, metal twisted, sailors screamed. The Ben Lomond broke apart and sank in under 2 minutes. I grabbed a life jacket and leapt overboard, choking on seawater, my ears ringing. Hours passed, maybe more. Time is strange in the water, but then I spotted something, a small wooden life raft bobbing in the waves. About 8 feet square, with a low canopy for shade and a few supplies tied down. I climbed aboard, soaked and shivering, alone. That raft became my world. There were a few rations, some tins of hot biscuits, a small jug of fresh water, a couple cans of condensed milk, a flashlight, and a canvas sheet. Not enough to last long, so I began to ration carefully. I ate half a biscuit each day, took tiny sips of water. I made the supplies stretch for nearly a month, but eventually they ran out. And then the real test began. Hunger is not like a pain, it's more like a whisper. Quiet at first, then louder and louder until it's all you hear. I needed to find food. I turned one of the biscuit tins into a makeshift knife, sharpening the edge against the raft's metal fittings. I shaped the lid into a crude fish hook and used threads from rope as fishing line. It took patience, but one day I pulled a fish from the water. I gutted it with the tin shard, dried it on the raft in the sun. It smelled awful, but it was food, life. Birds became a source too. Seabirds would sometimes land on the raft to rest. I learned to stay perfectly still, sometimes for hours, until one got close enough. Then I'd strike. One bird I caught with my bare hands. I drank its blood for hydration and saved the meat. Water was even more important. I prayed for rain, and when it came, I used the canvas sheet to funnel it into the empty water jug. Some days no rain would fall. So I tried desalination. I filled a tin with seawater, covered it with cloth, and placed it in the sun. As the water evaporated, it would condense on the underside of the cloth. I wrung out the drops. It wasn't much, but every drop counted. And the sharks came. Some days I would wake to find fins circling the raft, grey triangles slicing through the water. Once one of them grabbed the raft and tugged. I grabbed my tin knife and slashed at its head until it let go. I wasn't a threat to them, but I was food if I fell. I lashed myself to the raft at night, using rope to tie my waist to the wooden beams. During storms, waves crashed over me. Lightning turned the sky white. I closed my eyes and count, not the seconds between the lightning and the thunder, but the seconds between breaths to remind myself I was still alive. Time passed in strange ways. Some days I marked notches on the raft to count the days. Other times, I forgot what day it was entirely. I kept a small journal, wrote in it when I could, drew sketches of fish, birds, and distant ships. I started talking to the sea, whispering to it, singing Chinese folk songs I remembered from childhood. I saw ships pass me. Once a freighter came so close I could see men on deck. I waved the flashlight. I stood and shouted until my voice broke. They didn't stop. Maybe they didn't see me. Maybe they thought I was a trick of the light, a ghost on the water. By the third month, my skin had cracked from the sun. My hair bleached white. My legs grew too weak to stand. My mind played tricks on me. I thought I saw trees on the horizon, heard bells that weren't there. But I never gave up. One morning, I saw land. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and it was still there. Not a hallucination, not a dream. Land. A Brazilian fishing boat saw me and pulled me from the raft. I could barely speak. My body was thin and swollen from exposure, but I was alive. I had drifted over 750 miles. They took me to a hospital. I stayed there for weeks. When I was well enough to stand, the British government awarded me the British Empire Medal. The Royal Navy even studied how I survived, using my methods to teach sailors how to prepare for the worst. But I never thought of myself as a hero. I didn't win a battle. I didn't sink an enemy ship. I just endured. People say I was lucky, but luck doesn't teach you how to stretch half a biscuit across 2 days. Luck doesn't help you catch a fish with your bare hands or fight off a shark with a tin can. Luck might put a raft in your path, but it doesn't get you through 133 days alone. That takes will. And now, decades later, I share my story because someone might need to hear it. Not to be inspired, maybe, but to understand what a human being can endure when the sea tries to take everything away. My name is Poon Lim. I was lost at sea for 133 days, and I lived to tell the tale. If you're watching this now, maybe you're wondering what made me hold on. The truth is, when everything else is stripped away, all you have left is your will. And sometimes, that's enough. Thank you for hearing my story. If you believe in honoring forgotten history, survival against the odds, and the human spirit, please like, share, and subscribe. Because stories like mine, they don't float, they need to be carried.